Hello, and welcome back to Mystery Rift. I am David Paulides. For years, my work has focused on an unsettling pattern, a collection of baffling disappearances in the wildlands and national parks of North America. These are not just people who simply got lost. They are cases where the known rules of search and rescue dissolve, replaced by strange anomalies and an inexplicable lack of closure. This recurring pattern is what I call Missing 411. A collection of baffling incidents that defy conventional explanation. Today, we journey to one of the crown jewels of the national park system, Yosemite National Park. A place of profound and often overwhelming beauty. 4 million visitors a year come to witness the splendor of El Capitan, Half Dome, and Yosemite Falls. But for some, this spectacular landscape becomes the stage for a terrifying and absolute vanishing act. The cases we are about to examine fit the 411 profile, the unexpected, the unusual, and the absolutely unexplainable. Yosemite is a place of protected splendor, covering nearly 750,000 acres, with 95% of that designated as federal wilderness. Long before it was a park, it was a home, a place ruled by ancient forces. The Awani-Ichi, the people who called the valley Awani, or gaping mouth-like place, held traditions rooted in deep respect and often fear of those forces governing the land. The native legends often personify the dangers lurking just beyond the trail. Take the chilling tale of Punu, the spirit of the evil wind, which tells of a young woman snatched by the wind's malevolence and thrown to her death near the roaring waterfall. Her spirit, they say, joined the force that continues to prey on the unwary, demanding a price for the beauty. Then there is Tenaya Canyon, a section of the park so notoriously dangerous. Park rangers have reportedly nicknamed it the Bermuda Triangle of Yosemite. This nickname is no coincidence. It comes from the canyon's relentless grip, seemingly defying logic and search protocols. Is this simply difficult terrain? Or does the deep history and the curse supposedly laid by Chief Tenaya for the slaying of his son play a role in the canyon's inexplicable power? And let us not forget the haunting wail heard at Grass Lake by Galen Clark in 1857. The supposed cry of a boy who drowned and whose spirit still waits to pull the living down. These stories set a tone, a deep-seated truth about the land. They remind us that even in a place of protected splendor, there are dark corners and non-human laws at play. It is in this environment, this complex mix of natural beauty and unseen malice, that the 411 disappearances occur, seemingly at random. Now, let us look at the specific cases that clearly follow the core, Missing 411 criteria, starting with the first, and often most overlooked, Disappearance F. P. Shefford in 1909. Shefford, a young jeweler, started a hike from Glacier Point towards Sentinel Dome. His companions turned back due to heavy fog and inclement weather. A quick change in weather conditions, a sudden, thick, disorienting fog is a terrifyingly common 411 element. Shefford pressed on and simply vanished. Despite an exhaustive search by the U.S. Cavalry and the use of bloodhounds, a crucial detail, no trace of him was ever found. Bloodhounds are incredibly effective trackers. When they fail completely in an open, natural environment, it is an immediate red flag in a missing 411 case. Something intercepted the scent. We move ahead to 1972 with Dion Nagion, a 20-year-old medical student from England. He rented a cabin, left his clothes and personal belongings behind, and was last seen in Curry Village asking for directions to Half Dome, carrying only his Pentax camera. Think about that. A brilliant, intellectually sharp student, leaving all personal anchor points behind. No body, no camera, no sign. Chief Ranger Jack Moorhead said he could have simply hurt himself and they would never find him. But in the 411 database, this absolute lack of evidence often suggests something far more complex than a simple fall or accident. Perhaps the most chilling case of a vanishing near a camp is that of Stacey Ann Arris in 1981. A 4-year-old girl. She was on a trip with her father near Sunrise High Sierra Camp. She separated from an older companion and headed out for a very short 5-mile hike to Sunrise Lake to take photographs. She was last seen standing on a rock 50 yards south of the trail by a guide. That guide was the last person to ever see her. A terrifying final glimpse. Here are the 411 hallmarks. In her case, a sudden, unexpected disappearance, very close to an established trail and a busy camp. A proximal vanishing. Ranger Tom Hacker stated, "It's just like she vanished. There are no tracks or no clues. It's a complete mystery. Even when search dogs were brought in, they failed to pick up a significant scent. It is a disturbing, recurring theme. The failure of the dogs. Foul play was officially ruled out. But how does a child simply dissolve into the deep woods without leaving a single trace of her clothing, her camera, or even a footprint?" We now move to Tenaya Lake, near the ominous canyon. In 1988, Timothy John Barnes, 24, left for a day hike to Polydome Lakes. An experienced outdoorsman, he was last seen at 9 a.m. near the Murphy Creek trailhead. He failed to return that afternoon. A sudden disruption of a clear plan. A massive search involving 170 people, infrared equipment, and canines scoured the area for 7 days. A Park Service spokesman announced that they hadn't found even the slightest clue of his whereabouts. Again, the key point, not the slightest clue. It is as if the mountain opened up and swallowed him whole, erasing all human interference. This absolute lack of evidence is a common pattern for young, experienced men who disappear without leaving any survival equipment or shelter behind. 10 years later, on Memorial Day 1998, we have the case of David Paul Morrison, a 8-year-old experienced solo hiker. He set out from Curry Village to hike Half Dome, a demanding and famous route. He was last seen talking to a group of hikers at 1 p.m., asking for directions. He made a note that the cloud cover was very thick, and then he never met his girlfriend back at the trailhead. The thick cloud cover, or heavy fog, is a massive pattern in 411 cases. People disappear in rapidly changing, often severe, weather conditions that can blind and disorient within minutes. The search was hampered by bad weather and the need to rescue other stranded climbers. Despite the best efforts, David remains missing. Another victim of the mountain's absolute and impenetrable silence. The pattern continues into the new millennium. Kieran Burke, in 2000, an experienced 4 or 5-year-old hiker from Ireland, he called his wife, checked into his tent cabin at Curry Village, and then vanished. His tent and most of his personal belongings remained in place. His rental car was found in the parking lot. His planned trail, his ultimate destination, remains an unknown, an unfulfilled intention that simply ceased to be. Ruth Ann Rupert, also in 2000, an avid backpacker. She was last seen at the Yosemite Medical Clinic, then returned to her rental car at Curry Village. Her backpack was found 8 years later, in 2008, in the Fireplace Creek drainage, an area that would have been searched multiple times. The inexplicable delayed discovery of belongings is a huge red flag. Clothing or items are found long after the initial search, often in areas that were scoured, or in conditions that defy logical, natural placement. Let us look at the more recent cases that reinforce this established, frightening pattern. George Ponca in 2011, 30 years old. He separated from his church group on the popular Upper Yosemite Falls Trail, a clear, established trail. The weather was mild, yet he vanished. A team of 105 personnel, dogs, and a dozen helicopters found nothing. His bank account remains untouched. When a person separates from a group on an established trail and a massive search yields 0 results, we have to seriously question if human error alone is a sufficient, honest explanation. Peter Jackson in 2016, 74, but in exceptional physical health. He set up camp at White Wolf Campground for day hikes. He texted his son, said his plan, and then simply failed to check out. His vehicle was found at the campground, awaiting his return. Years later, in 2019, his backpack was found in the Ackerson Meadow Aspen Valley area. The equipment was found, but the man was not. Why was a backpack, often brightly colored, missed for 3 years in a park that is regularly traversed? The placement of this gear suggests a manipulation we cannot explain. And finally, Joel Thomason in 2021, an Army reservist and experienced hiker on a solo trip from Hetch Hetchy. He was last seen near the O'Shaughnessy Dam on his first day. His father noted that Joel often went backpacking to seek God and to talk to God after trauma. This fulfills the classic 411 profile, the experienced hiker, often focused or military trained, who is alone and simply vanishes into the vastness. The searches have failed, and Joel remains missing. And for one final bizarre note, the story of Elmer. Campers in Yosemite have been haunted by voices calling out, "Where is Elmer?" since the 1,930 seconds. whether it was a lost World War I soldier, a forgotten young camper, or a comedy movie reference. The phenomenon persists, echoing through the night air. It is a peculiar tradition, an auditory mystery that haunts the campsites, reminding us that Yosemite is a place where things and people go missing and become unsettling legend. The cases of Yosemite National Park from Shefford in 1909 to Thomason in 2021 paint a stark picture that cannot be ignored. These are not isolated incidents. They fit a pattern that I have been tracking for years. A pattern of absolute silence following a vanishing act. These disappearances share the same eerie, common characteristics: a sudden vanishing near established locations, the element of thick fog or water, and the repeated, complete failure of professional search efforts, particularly the canines. When park rangers and seasoned investigators are left to conclude, as they did with Stacey Harris, that it's just like she vanished, we must confront the possibility that the answer lies outside the conventional search and rescue manual. Yosemite is stunning. Yes. But it holds a dark, powerful secret. Do the ancient legends of the evil wind and malevolent spirits hold the key to understanding why some of its visitors simply disappear without a trace? The wilderness demands respect. But sometimes, even the best preparation is not enough when you are faced with a missing 411 anomaly. What do you think is truly happening in these magnificent, yet deadly parks? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you have an interest in true anomalies and unsolved mysteries, be sure to like this video and subscribe to Mystery Rift for more deep dives into the missing 411 phenomena. Until next time, this is David Paulides, urging you to be safe on the trail. Be aware of the shadows,